أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد كفيت كل درار الله بسر لا إله إلا الله أبلي مرادي كما أخوه بسر لا إله إلا الله يسر لي أسرى كما أخوه بسر لا إله إلا الله لا نبي مصطفى الله صلى لا إله إلا الله سبحان المؤمن بسلم الله بسر لا إله إلا الله سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba, berkeseran tuba. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May the peace, blessings, and mercy of the Almighty One be upon you forever and forevermore. Just wanted to share a quick reading from a very, very special book from a very, very special friend. Remember, be here now. Remember, be here now. Allah says in the Quran that the remembrance of Allah is the greatest. Baba Ram Das says, remember, be here now. There's a part of this book where I just had to stop at just based on a few things that are very, very, very special to our order. In regards to the salik, as we call it, or the person on the journey itself. Baba Ram Das says, some of us do go on this journey. We didn't stand up and say we volunteer. It didn't work that way at all. It's not like you had a choice of volunteering or not volunteering. That's not the way it works. It's as if you were propelled into it like the moth into the flame, but yet nobody is pushing you. Nobody is standing around saying, get in, take every third man. He goes. It doesn't work that way either. It's a little more like the image of a caterpillar enclosing itself in a cocoon in order to go through the metamorphosis to emerge as a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't say, well, now I'm going to climb into this cocoon and I'm going to come out a butterfly. It's just an inevitable process. It's inevitable. It's just happening. It's got to happen that way. We're talking about a metamorphosis. We're talking about going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. We're talking about how to become a butterfly. I mean, the caterpillar isn't walking around saying, man, I'll soon be a butterfly, because as long as he's busy being a caterpillar, he can't be a butterfly. It's only when Caterpillar-ness is done that one starts to be a butterfly. And that again is a part of this paradox that you cannot rip away Caterpillar-ness. The whole trip occurs in an unfolding process under which you have no control. That's a hard one. Well, what am I doing here if I don't have any control? You mean I don't have any choice? Can I say that this is nonsense? Can I say that this is important? Your lecture changed my whole life. You think that's a choice? No, not at all. It's an unfolding process. No accidents. If you could stand back far enough and watch the whole process, you would see you are a totally determined being. The very moment you will wake up is totally determined. How long you will sleep is totally determined. What you will hear of what I say is totally determined. There are no accidents in this business at all. Accidents are just from where you're looking. To the ego, it looks like it's miracles and accidents. No miracles, no accidents. It's just your vantage point that you're sort of stuck in. All right. None of us planned on going through the things that we went through today, nor are we planning on the things that may pop up tomorrow that are completely out of our control. We can either sit and worry about them now or not. And when the time comes, that time will also be now, because the only time is now. This is what a Sufi is. A Sufi is one on the journey of Sufism, and Sufism is a journey of becoming. But what are you becoming? You're becoming less of a caterpillar and becoming more of a butterfly. You're becoming less of one that crawls around on the ground and has to go over these big tree stumps and twigs and things in the way to get to that berry bush on the other side that smells good that you want to nibble on. You take that effort that you thought that you were going to have to exert to climb over a whole bunch of stuff to get to one thing, and you take that effort and you apply it to climb up as high as you can and enclose yourself within yourself. It's not like you have a choice anyway, unless you fight it. But who wants to stay a caterpillar? When I can look up while I'm crawling on the ground and see these people that used to be caterpillars with these wings flying from tree to tree. They'll land on the ground every now and then, but then they fly away from it. But here I am, old caterpillar, stuck crawling on the ground. I think I'm gonna climb up to the top of a tree one day and enclose myself in a cocoon, go through this thing that these scientists call a metamorphosis. Don't know what that is, but I really don't know what those things are up there flying either. But let me just go up here and see what this thing is about that honestly it feels like I'm compelled to do, because I'm kind of tired of being a caterpillar, actually. Caterpillar-ness is starting to cease, and Butterfly-ness is starting to set in. It's inevitable for that to happen. It's just happening. It's a process of becoming. The Sufi is one on the path of Sufism. Sufism is a path of becoming. Obeisance to Torah, who came forth as Cheturah, who came forth as becoming, who came forth as things coming into existence. But every time something comes into existence, it comes into existence now. And then it differentiates, and then it changes into something else. It's like everything else in existence does. So just because we are in this thing right here, we'll call the human body a caterpillar, right? The human body is a caterpillar that is designed as in this density to walk around on the ground. When it bumps into something that it can't get over or around, it has to climb around it, cut, hack, saw a way through it, go around it, try to figure some way around this obstacle. But when this caterpillar gets to a point in its existence as a caterpillar, when come very soon, that caterpillar is going to no longer continue to be a caterpillar, but that which was existing within the caterpillar is still going to exist. What do you think happens to this thing? Right? We go within, and here we are within it. Whenever the caterpillar part of this being that I am inhabiting as this one stops being a human, it goes into a state where there is a change and a metamorphosis. It goes into a state to where once it comes out of that state, it is free. It is no longer bound by things that hold it down in this density. It's no longer bound by things that have it vibrating low in the material realm. It's no longer distracted by worldly matters, carnal passions and desires, ego, and just pure devilishment. All of those things are transcended. Why? Because just like that caterpillar transformed, metamorphed into a butterfly, and is now a new body, same being, just like it said in the scriptures, when this thing stops working, this thing stays here. Because this thing is made out of the things that it had to crawl over. But what happens to the thing that animated it? The thing that animated it obviously doesn't need to deal with material anymore because it was just in control of something material. It was just in control of this human body that we're going to call a caterpillar. But now it has gone through a metamorphosis. It has gone through a change. And it can become its true self, free and not limited and bound by that which keeps it inside of a box or a flesh spacesuit. Now, that's not to say to keep this all mystic and say that when you die, your body stops working. If you tap into source when you leave, you don't get recycled and come back again to have to deal with this existence. And then you get to go to paradise, to Jannah, to heaven, to Brahma Loka, to Shiva Loka, whatever name you want to call it. Doesn't quite mean that, but it does. But since we're here now, as caterpillars, how can we become butterflies in the now? Going within and searching what makes this mechanism work, this human body mechanism, this caterpillar body mechanism, what makes this thing work. And when you realize there's something in there that makes it work, try to look at it until you realize that you cannot. Because what you are trying to look at is the thing that is trying to look at the thing if you're trying to look at. Be just that. But in order to be that, we have to think, act, walk, talk, be, live, and exist from the plane of the spirit. We have to realize that we are a spirit having a human experience, not a human trying to have a spiritual experience. Because if you think that you're a human, a caterpillar, trying to have the experience of a butterfly, this caterpillar ain't got no wings. This human is bound by material elements. But the being on the inside of it is not bound by any of those elements. It is what makes those elements function as the thing that wraps around the thing that is making those elements function as a human body. That essence within is what can change you from a caterpillar into a butterfly. But Cheikh, how do we get that here on Earth? Farrakhan said we don't want no pie in the sky and the by and by. White man told us that we get to get our heaven when we die, and they built their heaven on Earth right now. You build your heaven on Earth right now by realizing that you're not just a body walking around trying to figure out everything around you. You exist in all of the bodies that are around you that you think you're trying to figure out. And when you realize the state of yourself around the corner in the hood, when you realize the state of the consciousness of yourself around the corner on the other side where they just had a shooting at not 6 minutes ago, when you realize the state of yourself as a collective whole in society that has no power, but we are the majority, it starts to wake up that self. And the more that self vibrates out, it reaches out and vibrates to other differentiations of itself until that vibration is vibrated from a collective whole, inshallah, Lord willing. So that not only do this through this process did one person realize the inevitable metamorphosis that needs to happen and is going to happen to make us transform from caterpillars into butterflies, that it is not anything to fight. It's actually already written. Kendrick Lamar said it's in your DNA. We must activate it. Pray effectually and fervently. Meditate. Morning, midday, nighttime. Have a mantra practice. You don't have to have Muslim prayer beads. You don't have to have fancy Sufi prayer beads. You don't have to have Hindu prayer beads. You can count the prayers on your hand or on your fingers. If you have a favorite Bible verse, whether it be short or long, sit in your quiet space before you start your day, and then after you end that day, and just repeat that Bible verse over 100 times. Repeat that Bhagavad Gita scripture over 100 times. Repeat that Quran verse over 100 times. But while you're doing that, don't think about anything else but the message that God has for you and that which you're repeating. And inshallah, Lord willing, hopefully, there is a message within that from God on high just for you that gives you just enough to crack out of that cocoon and start to stretch out and spread those wings and fly. Because there's some people in the world that don't want us to fly. But it's inevitable. We will. Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله وهو العلي العظيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم ربي بما يسره لسانك قد فجاء بجاهية لمن لا يقل جاه ربي بما يسره لسانك قد فجاء بجاهية لمن لا يقل جاه أمدير من كريم لا شريك له وصدر يومان رسنت يملا محمد صلوات الله في عبادين اللي في به كل به كلا قد هو الذي يموت واهبه لجنة الحكيم يتق من امرأة وجيته جلا وما وقع رحماني تقريم هدين وكل من الغنبرية رحمانها بجابلي كاكرا كتامان يدنياني سريمان قرانه قراءة وتومتا مصطفى إن كل ما سداتين وتاهنا قايا من جار بداء وتومتا مصطفى إن كل ما سداتين وتاهنا قايا من جار بداء يا مالك الملك يا من جعل لهم قوادير ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع يا هادي الرداء يا مالك الملك يا من جعل لهم قوادير ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع يا هادي الرداء يا مالك الملك يا من جعل لهم قوادير ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع ارحم جميع وارع يا هادي الرداء ما هو تماكناها الكاب من ذراعي من جاهية لمن الله قد جاء سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Berkeisering falu, 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 born di. Amin, amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. May the peace, blessing, and mercy of Almighty God be upon you. Surely our praise is due to the one true God. Peace to the gods.